I want to talk about the Community Emergency Response Team. It's been around since 1985. Can you tell us more about the program and why it was created?
Okay, so the program was started in California by a fire chief who saw the need that civilians could do a lot with what was happening in California. So it was started there, and then FEMA came along and decided to make it a federal program. And so once FEMA got involved with it, it became a national program that's been around. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And can you tell us more about what CERT training covers here in Boston?
All right. So what's wonderful about the program itself, we're creating a unique situation to make it more manageable, but most of all more equitable for people. So when people take the program, we have a 12-hour module that people will go in on a portal. And at that point, they're considered to be Boston CERT participants. And then once you've done this, you will make a decision on whether or not you're ready to go to become in person with us. And that creates where we now change the relationship. Now you're going to be looking at becoming a Boston CERT volunteer. And what does that really mean? So it's kind of like a handshake happening between us and the city, you and the city. And Ky'ron is going to talk a little bit more about the eligibility of what that looks like. But the classes that you would be taking would be disaster preparedness, CERT organization, disaster medical operations, disaster psychology, fire safety, light CERT and rescue, terrorism, and cybersecurity. And all of these classes are given by subject matter experts, such as Boston EMS, Boston Fire, and then we have some community members that will be doing things such as the Narcan, which is under the Boston Public Health Commission.
Wow.
And we do have Boston Police coming in somewhere. We're still, because of the way the programming is, we're still signing up trainers because of the capacity, because this is a citywide rollout.
Awesome. And Ky'ron, can you tell us who is eligible for this program?
So anyone who's 18 plus, a Boston resident, and can pass the background check.
Okay, excellent. And
so it's pretty wide open.
Oh, that's good.
For the most part.
I love that. And how many volunteers have gone through this program so far?
Okay, so nationally, 3,000 plus chapters with over 600,000 members nationally.
Incredible. And I know that there are a couple of different avenues, different training modules for people who are interested in this. Can you tell us what those are?
Right. So what we, like I said, anyone and everyone can go in and do the 12 hours module, which you can go in right now and decide at any time you wanted to take this. And then the in-persons, they start up in April, and they're going to run from April to June. So we have a daytime class on a Tuesday that's from 10 to 12. Then that evening, and these are all in Roxbury right now. All of our classes are being held for in-person in Roxbury. Then we have an evening class that's going to be from 6 to 8. And then we have a Saturday class that's from 9 to 1:30. So hopefully we'll hit one of those that is suitable for you, and this is our first year rolling out the full capacity, so we'll get to find the roses and thorns on how the classes are set up.
Very interesting. And I guess once an individual is trained up and finishes this program, what types of situations might they be called to?
Okay. So one of the nice things is that, and I'm just going to brag a little bit about New York. They literally have had their program for 20 years. They celebrated this past year by lighting up the Empire State Building in the CERT colors. And they had over 320 deployments. Those deployments represented planned and unplanned. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about what the planned events will be. Say, even for the upcoming marathon, we could get a notice saying, hey, we need some volunteers for this and that. So they would send a formal notice to our office, and then from there, we would evaluate it and determine how many volunteers we would need. And then we would send out a notice, and then the volunteers would reach back and say, yes, I can participate during these particular hours. The unplanned ones it could be many things, I mean, that we've seen in other cities. It could be just even taking sandbags and helping with that. But the unplanned ones, in any of these capacity, whether it's planned or unplanned, there is no self-deployment. You will always have to be deployed under us. And that's very important. And so as the people become volunteers, that's one of the things that we will always be making people mindful of. You don't self-deploy yourself.
What does a typical day of training look like?
Okay. So I'm just going to highlight some of our popular ones that people really like is the CPR anytime. There's a full set of Annies that are out, and you're clicking on them to try to make sure that the beat is correct. And one of the songs that they sometimes sing, Staying Alive, you've seen that one. And then the other one is our Stop the Bleed, which we have these different body parts, and you participate in taking your finger or some items to push in to try to stop the wound from flowing, the blood. And then our Narcan training is extremely popular. People ask a lot of questions, and I think that it's just an opportunity where we found out, as I mentioned, another program that sits inside of the CERT program, which is only 4 hours, which is until help arrives. Just to give you a little feedback, we did it in October, and we had 91 people to show up for that class, and it's 4 hours.
Oh.
So, but people ask a lot of questions about 911. And why is that? Like I said, one of my big influences was Chief Hooley, who one day we were at an event, and I was with the deputies, and he pointed over and he says, this is our community initiative group, and they're the ones that's out there teaching CPR anytime. And he says, so that's on a blue sky day. He said, but this little group over here may not be the best day for you because it's the ambulance that's coming. He said, but it's all the same for us. We're the same family, and we want to make sure that if you are learning CPR until that first responder comes, we want to make sure that he's basically upset. He wants everybody in the city to learn CPR. This was many moons ago when I worked for the Boston Public Health Commission.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, and you brought up the Until Help Arrives program. For people who are kind of debating like which one they should go for, what are the main differences between that program and the Community Emergency Response Team?
Okay, so one of them is 26 hours of training, which is the CERT training, and Until Help Arrive is 4. And the other big piece about it is 2 hours virtual, and then it's 2 hours in person, and it doesn't have the component of pulling a query and a background check.
Okay. All right, excellent.
And not saying that anyone, can't pass, but for some reason, people kind of enjoy the 4 hours commitment. It's a 2 hour, one night virtual. Then we show up the next day and meet you at one of the sites, and you get the training for the other 2 hours. So for a lot of urban folks, they love that. They're like, we'll give you, when we did our focus groups, they were basically like, we would give you 2 hours in the evening, and that's about it. And then they started adding more stuff on there. Is it going to be food? Is it going to be childcare? So we're like, oh, we don't have funding for this, but we try our best to partner with organizations that do have those other things that we can't bring to the table.
All right. I mean, but 4 hours sounds very manageable. So I feel like it definitely opens up the field for a lot more people to do the program.
And what's good about it is that the people who've taken Until Help Arrives, they get to roll their 4 hours into the CERT, because it sits, the Until Help Arrives actually sits inside of the CERT module itself in Unit 8. It sits there just waiting for people.
And Until Help Arrives is a hybrid program as well. So it is, partly virtual and then partly in person. So.
All right. Very good. So you get the best of both worlds with
Right.
that.
And I think, you speak about community. We laughed about this because we had the fancy registration out there for it. And then I only had like 40 people registered. And then I kept seeing the numbers changing on people coming online. And I was like, what's going on? And what it was that the community had passed the Zoom number out. And they were just like coming in. And I was like, oh my God, we only have 100 slots on the Zoom platform. But they've changed that since then.
Yeah.
Excellent. And then how can our viewers learn more and register for Community Emergency Response Team?
They can go to boston.gov/cert for more information about the community emergency response teams. And to learn more about our office, you can go to boston.gov/emergency.